In the Know, a radio program talking to the newsmakers in Ogle, Lee, DeKalb counties and beyond, keeping you in the know. Here's your host, Charles Van Horn.
Good morning. Happy Sunday on this holiday weekend. I'm Charles Van Horn in studio, joined by Rochelle City Manager Jeff Fiegenschuh. Good morning.
Charles, how are you doing? Thanks for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come in and talk city business with you.
Staying in the air conditioning, that's what I like about it.
Amen to that, my friend.
Been hot and muggy. A lot of business happening in Rochelle. We've talked a couple times in the past, and we're really at the midway point of the calendar year. Rochelle had a lot of stuff slated to get done this year, and the downtown project, some of the rejuvenations and parking lots appear to be ahead of schedule.
It is. It's going very well, and actually our halfway through the calendar year, but our fiscal year runs the same time. So we track our projects on the calendar year due to our fiscal year. But yeah, everything's going great downtown. The parking lots are coming along ahead of schedule. They look very nice. Here this fall, we're going to go out to bid for the underground of all the utilities in the parking lot area, and basically from the post office to Bill's Trading Post. So all those utilities that are above ground are going to go underground, resurface that parking lot, and then put in the gathering space, the bandshell. That's going out to bid this fall, and we're hoping to have it completed by spring or early summer 2026.
That bandshell is going to be nice. If you haven't seen the concept drawings, you got to look it up because it's going to be a great space for the community. Obviously, you know, we have other bandshells. The Park District has that great facility out at Atwood, and there's other performance type spaces. But this one's going to be downtown, really good for the smaller events, and the things that'll really help the downtown businesses as well attract people and foot traffic.
Absolutely. I mean, our number one goal with this is obviously it's to create a venue for our residents and people who visit our community to enjoy, but we really are trying to move people to the downtown area. We're proud of our downtown. When I was hired, mayor and council said we need to reinvest in our downtown, and that's what we've done. And the only way to make sure that a business is successful is you drive customers to them, right? So our goal is to bring more people downtown. We don't want to forget about the other sectors of the community, right? The Southern Corridor and the Northern Corridor with the 251 project coming along. And I know we're going to talk about 38 out by the interstate. So all of our corridors are important, but a healthy, vibrant downtown is vital to any community's success. And we've really tried to institute that and move in that direction. And this project is kind of the culmination of that.
The new pocket park that's going to be going in, that went out for bid, I believe.
We received bids, and we're moving forward with that project. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing construction. Michelle Peace, our community development director, is really very happy about this project, and she's going to be very involved in the construction oversight. But yeah, and that's going to be, it's not going to be as large of a venue event space, but there'll be opportunities for people to use that as an event space and to have outdoor events and things like that. So yeah, we're super excited. It's going to be a great opportunity to, again, drive traffic downtown.
And the pocket park, it's not named for anybody yet. Now, I've only been in town just a couple of years.
Right.
I'm throwing my hat in the ring, though. So if you guys are looking for a name, I'm thinking you should name it after me.
Yeah.
I'm just.
We'll put your name in there. I will tell you that I'm on the foundation board, and I think there's some discussion about, I don't want to let the proverbial cat out of the bag here, but I mean, I think that there's some folks in the community who have really moved our community forward and been great stewards, and maybe there's some opportunities to name the park or have some murals for them downtown to celebrate their life. So there's opportunities there, definitely. We'll definitely put your hat in the ring, though.
Okay, at least for a sewage lift station.
We can do that.
I would be thrilled to death, by the way. If the next time RMU has a waste management and they want to dedicate a pump to somebody, I will gladly. You know, one of the grinders that they use for solid waste?
Yeah, out at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah,
we can name that after you.
That'd be perfect.
Is the Charles working today? No, the Charles is down again today.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, somebody put some diapers down the drain and Charles is all gummed up.
Well, I'll tell you what. You say that in jest, but being named after a sewage lift station, I would think that's an honor, because without sewage lift stations,
absolutely,
you have no sanitary system, and those sewage lift stations are an integral and vital part of our infrastructure. So to be named after one would be quite an honor, to be honest.
As long as they don't get the bill for the repairs when the pump burns up. Because that would be, again, flushable wipes, not flushable. If there's anything you take away from this program this morning,
that's a very true statement, Adam.
Flushable wipes, not flushable.
Adam would tell you that. Those are the worst things for sewage treatment plants.
We're talking about downtown improvements. You mentioned the other corridors. And, of course, foot traffic important for downtown. Vehicle traffic highly important for the other corridors. And boy, are the orange barrels going to be coming this summer.
They are.
Yeah, the I-39, Illinois Route 38 interchange. Now, the city is just sort of on the periphery of that. That's
Yes.
IDOT's job.
It is.
You guys are just coordinating with them because
We
there's
are.
things you guys have to do to make that all work.
We've got to do some utility relocates, and I think we're going to help fund some our portion of like multi-use path. But no, that's a complete total IDOT project. I watch Facebook, and I know folks think it's a waste of money. I've gone through these diamond exchanges before,
Yeah.
and once you get used to it, it actually really helps traffic flow better. But it is an IDOT project, and it's their intersection, and if they want to do the project, we just go along with it.
The one part that's really crucial to that isn't really emphasized enough is it reduces T-bone collisions. It makes any crashes that do occur more of a glancing blow,
Right.
and gives vehicles a little bit more visibility to pull out along with the lighting. And I think that's the key to it. Is in the big picture is it reduces traffic fatalities because it prevents those high-speed T-bone crashes. And Rochelle's experienced some tragedies out
We
in
have.
that area.
Yeah, I mean, our number of ambulance calls, just kind of on a different note, but the same note because you're talking about traffic fatalities. I mean, our ambulance call numbers have gone up every year since I've been here.
Yeah.
And, we thought it was COVID. Maybe some of it was COVID, but they continue to go up. And obviously with having major interstates run through your community and major highways, there's more accidents that can happen. So, yeah, I'm not an traffic engineer. But my guess is if Sam was in here, he would agree with your assessment that it does reduce traffic fatalities and accidents. And again, IDOT's job is to ensure public safety on the public roads. And so, but it is an IDOT funded project. And again, our portion of the costs are really just utility relocates and things like that, and putting in some new street lighting. And we're going to put the nice lights in that are out by Walmart so we can kind of have a full corridor. But otherwise, it's completely funded by IDOT.
Speaking of IDOT, their next big thing is, as I said, it'll be the season of the orange barrels because the I-39-38 interchange, something like 2027, I think is when they're targeting that to be done.
Right.
I think just to be on the safe side, let's just say 28 because we know how these projects go.
Yeah.
The reconfiguration of 251 7th Street there, along with Illinois 38, that is going to be painful for the short term, for sure, for people to get in and around town.
It will be, but beneficial in the long term. And it's been 20 plus years in the making. I know we have one count. Bill Hayes has been on the council for that long, and Sam Tessero has been pushing this project since he first came on staff, I think back in 05 or whenever. Yeah, I think it was 05. But yeah, this is a culmination of 2 decades of people's hard work, and IDOT has finally made it a priority, and we appreciate them doing that. It's the interchange. It's a complete reconstruct. We're changing out utilities. It's going to be a huge, massive project. It's probably going to be the largest road project in our town because of the amount of traffic that goes through the area. But we'll start doing public meetings when we get a let date, and they're only going to do one lane at a time so we can keep traffic flowing. But it's going to be in the short term, it's going to probably be painful, but in the long term, it's the best thing.
And just to describe it, this is going to be a reconstruction from basically Starbucks all the way to Flag Road, right?
Not to Flag Road, to close to tire tracks. They already had done the widening there. So
just short of the bridge then?
Short of the bridge.
Over Kite Creek.
No, well, you know where tire tracks is? That's where it's basically going to go there.
Okay, just there.
Yeah, because it's already been widened from tire tracks north to the interchange there at Flag Road. But still, it's a large project, and we're talking about stormwater relocation and detention. And so there's just a lot of different components and working pieces to this project. There'll be sidewalks or a multi-use path put in there, thank goodness. I mean, you see these high school kids in cross country and track running along 251, and that's super. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's somewhat dangerous. So having a multi-use path in there and having the connection with Flag Road and connecting all of our corridors so people like myself can go out and walk. We're not putting a multi-use path in because the city manager wants it. It's part of the project. But there's those of us out there that like to be physically active, and it's a great way to do that and stay safe. But it is going to be a massive project. But yes, it goes all the way basically from Starbucks to tire tracks.
Yeah, and that's going to be certainly a lot of work. The city is responsible for a lot of it because, again, you have a lot of equipment underground. That's the most complex pile of spaghetti underground right there.
Yeah, we're responsible for all of the utility relocates, obviously, because there are utilities. And then we'll also be responsible for a portion of the multi-use path and then the lighting. Otherwise, it's IDOT funded. So the road and the reconstruction of the road itself is actually IDOT funded.
Do you want to go back in time to the 1950s and tell everybody to move their stuff about 10 foot back?
No, I'll pass on that. I mean, I live on 251. I didn't realize that, probably back in the 50s. I don't know when they urbanized it, but back in the day, 251 where I live there was no curb and gutter. It was ditch. And so, this is the other big component you don't think about unless you get a lot of rain. And unfortunately, we haven't had much rain lately is just stormwater detention. And where does all that stormwater go? And, if you're going to spend, I don't know how much the total project's going to come in at, but if you're going to spend tens of millions of dollars, you want to make sure that you don't have flooding issues as well. So all that underground infrastructure is going to be upsized or relocated, and that's a big component of this project.
Yeah. And speaking of views along 251, water tower finished.
Yes, it looks great.
That was a project in the making, got delayed. Weather and wind certainly wreaked havoc on those crews, but it's all shiny, it's purple, it's white, and set for the long term. You guys did some work on that tower, and it's good to go for how long, you think?
20 years plus. I mean, the part you don't see is the inside, and that's the most important. So during the winter, when you didn't see work being done, it was being done. It was repainting the inside of the tower. And I love it. It looks beautiful. I'm glad we went with the purple and white, and I know our community is thankful for that because we are the hub city. Again, I've said this many times before, and Adam would agree. Our job is to make sure that our residents have potable water. So having a working, functional water tower is the most important. The color of it is secondary, but it does look nice, and it's up in operation. And, we have a lot of industry that relies on water in our community. So having a water tower that's down, especially if it was in the summer with all the heat and the drought, can be problematic.
And that water tower, really, with the improvements you guys made, that thing is going to be providing water for the community for nearly 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you take care of your infrastructure, it's built to last.
Yeah.
And, now you have to have maintenance, right? So every 10 or 15 years, you don't have to do a full repaint, but typically they'll go in and they'll definitely get rid of the mildew because of the condensation on the outside. But they typically go in and repaint and redo the inside of the tower. That's the most important component. And you typically every 10 to 15 years.
And you'll have sediment that builds up in there, and it's crazy to think about that. I know that unrelated, that the village of Creston has sediment in their water tower, and they're going to be addressing that. That even though you're pumping and filtering and everything else, stuff still gets through and settles.
It does.
It's just amazing on the sheer volume of scale of what happens.
Absolutely, and this is why we're so lucky to have our own utility, right? Because our mayor and city council run our water utility, and this is not a slight on a private water company, but the people in our community wanted a purple and white water tower, and they got it because it's a locally owned piece of infrastructure, right? If it was a private company, who knows if it would even get done in a timely manner. So again, that's why local control of our utilities is so important.
Let's talk about the community in general and economics. The economy is certainly on shaky ground. We've had some area businesses, big industrial, at least size-wise, in and around Rochelle, announced that they were relocating. Others have been purchased and moved on. Others are on financial shaky ground. A recent announced bankruptcy of one of the major property holders in the area for industry. Your job is in part to help bring business to the area and keep the businesses here.
Right.
That's got to be a lot tougher in the last 6 months, the first half of the year, with some of the economic shakiness.
Yeah, I mean, it's disheartening, obviously, but these are all factors outside of our control as the mayor, city council, city manager, whatever. We just deal with the cards that are dealt, and we'll continue to support our businesses the best that we can. I think there's things going on in the economy that, people are changing their eating habits. There's different things going on that we have no control over, and it affects those businesses. I know the other one, Bright Farms, they're consolidating and moving out of town. And again, that's outside of our control. I would put our utility rates up against, I think they're going to Yorkville, that's ComEd. I'd put our utility rates up against ComEd's any day and our service. But they made a business decision. We've heard some rumors about another company coming in and buying that facility. I don't know if Bright Farms hasn't told us whether that's happening yet or not. So I don't want to divulge too much. But I do think that facility will be sold and another business will come in. But you're right. There's a lot of economic uncertainty. But we also have to continue to move forward, right? We can't just be stagnant. And I just remember during COVID, we were very, COVID happened and we met as a group, mayor, council, and myself and staff, and we cut the budget just in anticipation because we didn't know what was going to happen. And so we always keep an eye to the future. And if things turn to the negative or kind of go in reverse, and we as an organization will meet that challenge like we've always done. But we also have to continue to move forward. And we can't run the city based on what happened to this business. We can support that business, but we also have to deal with it. As I said, we have a deck of cards dealt to us, and we have to deal with those cards, and we're going to do the best we can with those cards.
Rochelle City Manager Jeff Fiegenschuh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, man. Have a happy 4th.
Thank you for listening to this week's In the Know. The program returns next week at this time with another great conversation with someone from your community.